Hi everybody, it's Alex here from Heel vs Babyface with my 500th video. It's taken me approximately 15 months to get here, but here we are, 500 videos in. And thank you ever so much indeed to absolutely everybody who has supported my channel, whether you're new, whether you're an existing subscriber, or you were there back in there. Thank you ever so much indeed for all your support. You've kept me going and you've helped me to grow. So how do we celebrate 500 videos? It's got to be something of epic, legendary proportions. You see the link? You see the link there? And this is how you can get your legendary cloak. Most importantly, how to get your legendary cloak on the very same day that patch 5.4 is released. So you go to Rathian in Tavern in the Mist to continue the storyline, and he will send you to the Timeless Isle, the brand new isle just off the coast of the Jade Forest. He'll give you two quests. Number one, get 100 timeless coins. Really easy. All you got to do is either loot stuff scattered around the island or kill mobs and they drop a random amount of timeless coins. You'll have it done within a couple of minutes, that's all. The second is the most important one, and it's to defeat all 4 of the celestial beings in Pandaria. So we're going to start with Chi-Ji the Red Crane, and he does a few abilities, not huge amounts, none of them do massive amounts. Now, number one, he'll do a heal called Inspiring Song, which will heal him for 5% of his maximum health every second for 10 seconds. It's interruptible, make sure that you do. Secondly, he'll do Firestorm, which are those fire whirlwinds that you can see in the back of the picture there. They inflict 200,000 fire damage to all players within 10 yards every 2 seconds. And they also slightly move around, so don't just get rooted to the spot thinking you're safe. Probably get yourself well out of the way. Chi-Ji will also do a very strange ability called Beacon of Hope. It'll target a random player and put the beacon on them, and they'll have all damage reduced by 90% for 20 seconds. And anybody that gets within 5 yards of the beacon will also have their damage reduced by 90% for 20 seconds. The reason why this is vital is because as soon as Chi-Ji has cast the beacon on somebody, he will cast Blazing Song, and this will deal 500,000 fire damage every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Can't be interrupted at all. So the beacon will soak up that spell. Or you could do what I did, which was actually to get out of range because I couldn't identify which person had the beacon on them. At 66% of his health and also 33% of his health, he'll do something called Crane Rush and summon a load of his children. They'll flock away from Chi-Ji for 15 seconds and they will cast something called Blazing Nova. Blazing Nova will deal 300,000 fire damage to all players within 4 yards. Make sure that you get out of the way of them. They may look very innocuous, but no, they are not. They will tear you to pieces. So that's the first of the Celestials dealt with. Next up, we've got Zuen. Now, Zuen doesn't have a huge amount of abilities, but he's still very, very deadly indeed. First up, he'll do something called a Spectral Swipe. In a 15-yard cone in front of him, he will inflict 300,000 physical damage and reduce the armor of that target by 10% for 1 minute. Tanks beware, make sure that you get that rotated. He'll also combine that ability with something called Leap, which we saw as soon as the video transitioned. That's where he'll select a target, in this case it was me, leap at them, and then do the Spectral Swipe. If you're a ranged DPS, then you may be fortunate enough to see that you're the target of the leap. You can move out of the way and avoid it, but you've got to be really, really quick. Like I wasn't. It stacks as well. Look at the debuffs that are on top of me. I've now got 2 of them. Don't be fooled by the other one. That's just a bug. He'll also do something called Crackling Lightning, where he'll inflict 100,000 nature damage to all players every second, and it will also jump to 5 nearby targets. So when he starts to do it, you've got to get out of range. Otherwise, you'll find players just getting torn to pieces. Be on the lookout as well for Chi Barrage. We've already seen it in the fight, where he'll blast off a load of Chi in all directions. Now, when it hits, it will inflict 500,000 nature damage to the players within 3 yards of the impact location. You've got to once more be on the move. If you stand still, you will just get crushed. Finally, he'll do something called Agility, which he'll cast on himself, and it will increase his haste by 300% for 1 minute. This is a magical effect and therefore can be dispelled as soon as he pops it on him. Make sure you get it off. And that is Zuen taken care of. Defeat Zuen and you will move on to Nizao. Now, Nizao may have the least amount of abilities of any of the Celestials, doesn't make him less fun to play. Tanks, you've got your work cut out, because he'll do something called Headbutt, which will inflict 1 million physical damage to the target. Not only that, it'll knock them back, and also remove all the threat from that target as well. Additional tanks, be on the lookout for this to pull Nizao to one of you guys, and also the tank which was the target of that, get back in ASAP and establish your levels of threat. The last thing that you want to happen is for all the tanks to get knocked out and then Nizao run rampant around the DPS. He'll also do something called Oxen Fortitude, where he'll increase all the players' health, yes, the players that are attacking him, health by 20% for 2 minutes, and it will stack. But every time he puts 20% health on you, he gains 10% damage, and that will also stack. Now look what's going to happen here. Whee! Yeah. At 33% and 66% of his health, he'll do an ability called Charge, where he will run around the arena a full circuit and deal 500,000 physical damage to all enemies within 30 yards every second. You've got to get out of his way. And then finally, he'll do something called Massive Quake, where he'll inflict 100,000 physical damage every second for 10 seconds. Healers, this is where you've just got to pump out AoE heals as best possible, because there's very little to do to mitigate that. Once you've defeated Niu Zhao, you'll move on to your final challenge, which will be Yulong. Possibly my favourite of the 4 Celestials. First up, she will do something called Jade Flame Buffet, where she'll inflict 30,000 fire damage to all nearby players and increase the fire damage they take by 5% for 1 minute. And yes, it stacks. She'll also do something called Jade Fire Breath. Tanks, beware. It will inflict 300,000 fire damage to all players within a 40-yard cone. Ouch. Also, she'll deal some Jade Fire Bolts, which launches Jade Fire all around the place, creating these Jade Fire blazes at the impact locations. This is what you can see here on the floor. And they will inflict 100,000 fire damage to all players within 11 yards every second. So you can see, due to the fact I've got the additional debuffs on me, I was taking more damage. It was 100,000, then it becomes 105 with 1 stack, 110, 115 with 3 stacks, etc, etc. And then finally, we have this fantastic Jade Wall, which she will also summon. If you get hit by it, it will inflict 500,000 fire damage to you. There is a hole in it. Make sure that you position yourself in the hole. Tanks, very important that you keep mobile. DPS, very important that you keep up with the tanks as well. And that's what happens. You defeat all of them, you get yourself the achievement. You also now get yourself a little cachet, which I imagine will be once a week. But the most important thing is that is the end of the quest. All 4 of the Celestials have been defeated, and we can now return to Rathian to begin the next stage of our legendary quest line, which will take us to the Seat of Knowledge in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, not only with Rathian, but with Lorewalker Cho, and we'll see the final part of our storyline. Now, upon arriving here, we're greeted by quite a spectacular sight at the Seat of Knowledge itself, at Mogushan Palace, because we have these effigies almost scattered around the palace, and they've each got the proc, the vanity proc, from the legendary cloak behind them. There's 3 at the front, and there's 1 further to the left, and there's 1 further to the right also. Go inside, there's lots of us obviously that have just completed this quest line, and there we are. We see Rathian and both Lorewalker Cho. Now, this place got really busy really quickly, so I've refilmed it another time so we can see a little less congested version of this story. Hope you enjoy. I'm going to be quiet.
It starts with a hero.
An outsider from beyond the mists.
Conquering a strange new land.
Must we use the word conquer?
Venturing into forgotten vaults.
Mantid and Mogul alike were brought low by the hero's fury.
Their power and wisdom seized for a greater glory.
When war came to Pandaria shores, our hero was ready.
A faction standard bearer, beloved by the people and feared by their foes.
Even the mighty Thunder King fell before our champion's might.
One by one, the secrets of an ancient empire were laid bare.
Yes, knowledge uncovered for the benefit of the world.
Power acquired for war and conquest.
Let us stop for a moment. What kind of hero are we talking about?
An agent of destruction, forged by my will to forever change the face of Azeroth. Behold, latent Titan power, imbued with my own draconic essence, tempered by the wisdom of the Pandaren Celestials. Overwhelming power. Use it to heal or destroy, to protect or annihilate.
My friend, please think carefully about the legacy you will leave behind.
Come to me, champion. Collect your well-earned reward.
How will the story end?
There is only one way to find out.
So there we go, that's the storyline completed. Afterwards you go and speak to Rathian, you get yourself a little bit of gold, and also the item which you need to click that's going to convert the cloak that you have into a legendary piece. But look at that, what a lovely way to finish. An effigy of you with the vanity proc from the cloak above Mogushan Vallis. Oof, look, massive troll. Yeah, never would have thought there'd be any of those around the place. So you get the next part of your storyline, which isn't legendary part, but the next part, which is to actually defeat Garrosh Hellscream. So there we go. That's the item in my inventory. I need to right click onto it. The Essence of Rathian. Boom! Massive demonic wings proc from behind, which just look spectacular. Hey Blizzard, don't want to give you any ideas, but put that on the Blizz store. It will sell in droves. But there we go. The cloak's been removed from being equipped onto you and has become a legendary item. Couple of weird things though. It's reduced the item level back down to 600. Mine was 608. Not 600, not 604, but 608. but it's reduced it back down to 600, and therefore the stats as well, so stamina, intellect, crit, haste and mastery all got downgraded. You have to regem it and re-enchant it, and on the PTR there's no vanity proc. There's no vanity proc coming from the legendary cloaks at all, which is a shame. A wee bit of a shame, because I was kind of hoping that it did. But let's take it for a wee bit of a test drive as well. Let's see what happens with the proc. Now, I'm not going balls to the wall here. All I'm going to do is kind of do my typical rotation. So that's get Immolate up on the target, do a couple of Conflagrates, hit my Incinerates to burn off the procs, and then do my Chaos Bolts when I've got Burning Embers available. Now, you can see myself getting infused with the Jade Power. Once you get infused, the next time that you actually cast a spell, that will send the proc off towards the target. And not only will it hit the target, it will also strike the surrounding targets as well and burn them as a debuff. So if I bring up the details off that very little experiment, look, it's already clocking in at number 3. How long it could maintain that, I don't know. But it's already beating Conflagrate and Immolate and the Immolate Dot. It's only third behind Chaos Bolts and Incinerates, which are the two primary spells in Destruction. It's a very interesting little experiment, I know, but still very interesting indeed. So there you have it. That's how you can get your legendary cloak. And as long as you're bang up to date with the Rathian storyline going into patch 5.4, there's very little to prevent you from actually getting it on the very same day that the patch is released. Whenever that may be, because as yet, we do not know. And thank you to everybody once more who's supported my channel throughout these 500 videos. Fingers crossed you get at least 500 more out of me. And I hope you enjoyed this vid. Please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook and also twitch.tv/heel versus babyface for live streaming. I'll be streaming tonight from 7 PM UK time. You take care everybody. Bye bye.